Pirates fight for Old Southwestern, for alma mater dear. Pirates fight for Old Southwestern. To Southwestern will be loyal to the sun from the sky. And remember to the end that our fight will never die. Pirates fight, yeah we win, ayy. Pirates fight, whoa, to the end, whoa. Pirates fight, yeah we win, ayy. Pirates fight, yeah, to the end, whoa, to the end.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to SU Football Weekly here on the Vype Live Network. My name is Merle Bertrand, coming to you live tonight from Jack's Lounge inside the beautiful Georgetown Sheraton, joined by head coach Joe Austin, Trey Grubb, our producer, and Christina Weber, our QA. Coming up tonight on the show, we'll hear from junior wide receivers Dugan Sexton and Mitchell Garrett. So it's wide receiver night. When you go to the bar, make sure they throw your food at you, and you better catch it. I want to thank some of our sponsors, including Antioch of Georgetown, Baylor Scott & White Healthcare, Chapel Realty Group, Chisholm Trail Pediatrics, Don Hewlett Buick and Chevrolet, Double Dave's Pizza, Eagles Wings Home Improvement Services, First Texas Bank, and Gary Brown CPA. And Coach, we knew it was going to be an uphill climb against the now number 24 ranked Berry College Vikings. The 52-10 scoreboard looked rough. I actually came away from the game feeling somewhat optimistic, especially after the first half. There were a lot of good things there. The scoreboard didn't go the way you wanted it. But especially in the first half, I thought the Pirates had closed the gap a little bit and cleaned up some of the stuff that we've been talking about. But I'm just a fan. You're the expert.
They are way underrated at number 24. That is a really, really good football team. And it was fun to compete against them. They don't really have a lot of weaknesses, as we suspected they wouldn't. And I thought, as you said, we hung in really well in the first half. As we'll see on the highlights, their first touchdown came off of a fumble.
Right.
And we gave them a short field. Other than that, we made them work really hard for their other two scores. The really tough one to swallow was we just scored to make it 21-3 late in the second, less than 2 minutes to go, and then they got one more at the end.
Right.
And that's like, oh, darn it, we were really about to have a pretty darn solid half against a really good football team. If we'd held them 21, that would have been the fewest they'd scored in any half the whole season.
Wow.
Not that you're all about moral victories, but
yeah,
when you hold a team that is as explosive as them, the number 4 ranked offense in the country, to 21 when no one else has held them to 28 or fewer, that would have been pretty good. And so that's kind of the story, was that we had that we're really close to having a great half moment, and we just let them a little bit off the hook.
Yeah, and again, you're not one for moral victories, I know that, but they're averaging about 56 points per game. They scored 52, 7 of that coming on a blocked field goal that they recovered in the end zone, and another 7 coming on the fumble recovery. It's like a 2-play drive. So, I mean, overall, especially again in that first half, the Pirates really made them work hard. You could kind of see in the second half, the Pirates seemed to slip back into some of the old habits again on the coverages and that kind of thing. So is it kind of nice to have this is what happens when you do good, this is what happens when you don't do good, all in the same game to look at?
I think you're onto something there. In the second half, they definitely took advantage of some personnel matchups where they were a little bit better personnel, their personnel against our personnel, and that's just the way it is sometimes. But overall, I think there were a lot of good things to look at.
Right.
And we got to go against one of the elite teams in the country. There's not 24 teams that are better than them. I've coached a lot of Division III football. I've seen a lot of football teams. I'll guarantee you there's not 23. Well, I guess they're 24. There's not 23 other teams that are better than them. They're a really good team. So
we'll see. We'll track that as the season goes on, see where they wind up. But for now, let's take a look back at some of the highlights, Trey, over from Saturday's game. Spoiler alert, at about the 7-minute and 40-second mark, you're going to see it freeze. Trey's going to drag it ahead about 10 seconds and play again. I don't know why. Coach said it played fine for him. It's messing up for me. So we'll see what happens. So we'll take it away, and we'll look at Saturday's game.
So that's me in the gold sweatshirt. All the guys are passing me. I'm not in a really big hurry to run down. But it is fun. It's a good adrenaline rush when you get to lead the team out every Saturday. So it's one of the things that I do enjoy. After the team's traded punts to start, that's a nice throw from Jalen to Graydon Thompson, who returned from injury, and unfortunately he fumbled. And they're too good to give him the ball on the 22-yard line. And 2 plays later, which I think the next clip will be, one of their very talented tailbacks is gonna take it in for a score. Their starting tailback actually didn't play, but the ones that did are still plenty good. We actually defended this not bad. We have 2 players there, but our freshman outside safety, their nickel safety, stopped his feet, and you can't do that against a player that's that fast. He got to the edge, and they take the 7-0 lead.
And you talked about their speed on the show last week. That was a good example of it right out of the bat there.
Yes, they can change direction really well. They can accelerate really well. We moved the ball pretty consistently. First downs, it wasn't like we were really having to work too hard to get first downs. There's a nice 3rd down conversion on a quick little pass over the middle to Mitchell Garrett. We'll see several of Mitchell's catches today. He's going to be on the show tonight. Later on, we'll see Dugan Sexton's touchdown. Dugan's going to be on the show tonight. Dugan's been the receiver that, from a grading standpoint, has been grading out the best for us over the last couple weeks. Barry is a team that does a lot of stunting and blitzing, and they can cause some difficulties for your run game. And so they bottled us up a few times, but we also cracked them a few times.
Right.
And we cracked them for some pretty good chunks. And this is one of them. This is going to be a third down play where we're going to run our run play away from their stunt. If you saw, they blitzed 2 linebackers to our left, and we had a great call there to go to our right for a nice 15-yard chunk and a 3rd down conversion, getting us out towards midfield later on here in the first quarter. We had to punt on that drive, and now we're into the second quarter. 3rd down has been difficult for us. It's one of the things we've talked about, and 3rd down was a tough thing for us again today. That was the 3rd down conversion. Now we've got him into 3rd and long again. That's another 3rd down conversion. It's a huge emphasis for us. It seems like whatever we've done, we've played zone, we've brought pressure and played man. The last 2 teams he played, Rhodes and Barry, have executed just really well. And so we've got to keep working. And when you give them a crack, they're really able to take advantage of it. There, our coverage player, our corner in the slot, fell down trying to go for the tackle. And if you fall down against these guys, they're really good athletes, and they're able to run it in for their second score. At least we made them go a long way. We punted on that drive. We put it down into the 80. We got them into 3rd and long several times. The frustrating thing is not being able to get off the field. This is another example of just not quite getting it done, and our defensive end's responsible for the quarterback there. Then he got his feet tangled up. So this one I wouldn't put in the category of just a blown assignment. It's just, we've got to just execute that. I don't have a coaching point for don't get your feet tangled up, right? It's kind of a bad luck thing. A reliable player there. We've just got to do a little bit better. Another nice run. You're breaking tackles. That's our number 3 tailback, who is still really darn talented. We hadn't seen much of him because their top 2 are so outstanding. And then as they get the ball down into the red zone on this drive, we did a really good job. This is 3rd and goal. On 1st and 2nd down, we did a nice job. And then here they just barely cracked it through the A-gap. But we'd like to have that A-gap covered a little bit better, obviously. But we had a couple really nice run fits and some really nice run defense down there inside the 5 until they finally cracked it in there by just a hair. If you saw the coach's film from the end zone, it was just a little teeny crack. And so here's what I'm talking about, being able to use their blitz tendency against them. They brought a blitz opposite of where we were running the ball there. It worked out nice for a 25-yard gain. Nicely blocked, nice run by Christian Reeves. And then we're going to come back. I don't remember if this is the next players, a couple plays later, but we're going to do the same thing. We're going to crack another one. This time it'll be a nice 15-yard run.
I think it was the very next play
for Christian. And as you can see, we're getting the ball to midfield, getting the ball past midfield. We're able to get first downs. We're able to do some nice things. This is later on in the same drive. Jalen corrals the snap and then gets it over the middle to Mitchell. What a nice play. To be able to get your eyes back to your key and be able to find your number one receiver. Really nicely done. This drive, unfortunately, really was pushed backwards by a snap that Jalen couldn't handle. One rolled back to him, and it got past him, and that led to a loss of yardage. But always reliable, Charlie Fournier is going to come on and put this through the uprights. So this is going to make the game 21-3. If you take out that 122-yard drive, we made them work really hard for their other scores. Right. We forced them to convert on a bunch of third downs. Now, they did it, right? You got to tip your hat to them. They were able to do so. There's about 146, 148. So it's under 150. It would be really great to stop them and get out of the half, but we were unable to do that. A nice scramble by their quarterback, picking up some yardage. And we're gonna see them eventually. They took the ball the length of the field. They had a decent return out to about the 35-yard line. We're hoping to kick it a little bit deeper and get a touchback. And then we jump off sides. It gives them a free play. They take the shot, and they win the one-on-one matchup. And, of course, as you mentioned, Merle, that's been a tough thing for us. We haven't really gotten to the football very well in zone defense, and then we've gotten beat sometimes in man defense. So we're working on our pass coverage, working on it every practice, working on it every week, and they got us there. So that was unfortunate. We wanted to go into the half 21-3 or better. It ended up being 28-3. Barry got the ball, and we kicked a touchback that time. We're going to give them a 75-yard field. They worked it down, and our defense now comes up really strong once they get the ball inside the 15, and we're going to hold them to a field goal attempt. And when you make them go the length of the field, you make them string together a lot of first downs. That's what you want to do with a really, really good offense. Yep. With a lot of really good players is make them work very hard. And this drive, we made them work very hard. Great stop there. We got off the field on third down, forced a field goal attempt. And to hold them to 3 is not a bad deal, right? You hold them to 3 every drive and get off the field and get some zeros, and you'll be in good shape. So not a bad way to start the half. This punt rush, number 80 on the right side through the A-gap, runs through 2 of our better football players on our football team. What an individual effort. Now, obviously, we need to get in front of them. We had 2 guys that could have gotten in front of them. But one guy got the pressure, and he did a good job. He got close to a couple others, and it's just number 80. I should have looked his name up, give him some credit. But he was a heck of a player for us to handle on our punt protection. And is this our glitch? We're going to slide it forward a little bit.
We'll fast forward here in a second.
So that's one of the things we've got to get rid of, and we have the ability to protect that. We can block that better. We can coach that better. We'll be working on getting that alleviated as we go into this week.
There we go.
Oop, now we're playing slow-mo. Should I describe it in slow-mo?
You could. I'd like to see that.
Hang on, folks.
You said it played fine for you, though, right?
It played great for me. I watched it all.
Well, we can take a little halftime break of our own, but just a lot of good stuff. And I got to quit jinxing, because like the third or fourth time, not only on our broadcast with you guys, but other broadcasts, I said, you can't do this. If you got the ball first and 10 at the 5-yard, just hang on to the football here. Sure enough, a fumble gives it back over to the other team. So maybe that was my fault that they scored right there before the half.
That's like when Marissa tries to watch hockey with me. She thinks that she has an effect on the outcome of the game. I can guarantee you that she doesn't, and Merle, I can guarantee you that you don't either.
Okay. Well, I feel better now.
You have no impact on the outcome of the game. You don't need to worry about that at all. All right, we're rolling again. Cool. I'll pick it up at the next play, and we'll get back into describing what's going on. We are in the middle of the third quarter, and they had run some nice pass plays off of that motion where they ran slants by both those receivers. That time they went on a slant and go, a really nice route by a good receiver and a really good throw by their quarterback for a big chunk. Our corners on the outside are still playing very well. DJ James and Quincy Nevins. More of our coverage issues, as you can see here, have come from covering slot receivers and split receivers. There we got beat in man coverage again, and we'll keep working on that. Tough matchups. Mm-hmm. I thought we did better on their outside receivers than we did against their slot receivers, and that's probably been the case. For the last 3-4 weeks since we made the change and we got DJ rolling and we got Quincy rolling at those corner positions.
And they really worked that slant pattern a lot.
They did. So that slant and go was a nice adjustment by them. we get one back. Turnovers have been a little bit harder to come by, but we force a fumble, and we're able to fall on it. And that gives us good field position. And it's nice to see that's complementary football because we were able to get the ball for our offense at about midfield. Damian Gomez is on now. There's Mitchell Garrett again with another nice catch, his third catch that we've seen in this highlight package. And then later on in the next couple plays on fourth down, I think it's right here, we're going to see Damian hit Dugan, our other guest on the show tonight. Dugan's running at the top of the screen. He runs a post corner, holds the safety in the middle of the field, and a really nice throw by Damian. Dropped it right in the bucket, right between those players. Really nice catch by Dugan. And we're on the board again. We're on the board again. I think that sets the final margin. I can't remember if we have a couple more plays to show. No, that's it right there.
Yeah, nice job, I thought, by Damian to come in. We've talked about the competition between them, and he loses the starting job. He comes in the fourth quarter and puts the ball right in the money a couple of times and sparked it, kind of like what Jalen did when he came in for Damian early in the season.
Absolutely. They're both good players, and they're both players that we value and are really important to our football team. And Damian is getting accustomed to his new role. No one wants to be in that role, but as the mentor and the second guy coming in off the bench, he did his job. He did it really, really well.
Offensive line, we've talked about it, pretty banged up, gave up 4 sacks. Pirates only had 82 yards in net rushing. I thought Christian Reese, however, averaged 8.8 yards per carry. We saw a couple of his runs right there. I thought he did a really nice job.
Our O-line is as you said, is pretty banged up. We're without 4 starters, and that's tough to be without 4 starters. But the guys that are in there are working hard. They're really working at it. There's some guys that are probably maybe in a little bit before we would like to have had him in, at least on a full-time basis. But it's just the way football is. And this year, the injury bug has bitten the offensive line. Losing 4 starters is a tough deal. But a lot of those guys are underclassmen that are getting a lot of plays and a lot of practice repetitions. And long-term, that will benefit us. We still have 2 seniors in that group, and Matt Gomez and Tanner Poole, who are doing a really good job with the younger guys, mentoring them. Calming, steady presence, and so we're still it's very valuable to have those 2 seniors still in that group, surrounded by a bunch of younger players.
And last comment about this game, and I meant to ask this on last week's show, and I got sidetracked and forgot all about it, but I thought it was interesting that Barry started their program in 2013, same as Southwestern. Their head coach is the only coach they've had, kind of like you here. Did you guys get a chance to kind of talk things over and compare war stories a little bit about building a program up from scratch? Yeah,
we have. They're a little bit different they're very different situations. But there's some similarities in the way that we started it. Barry's had a really good setup. They built some great facilities. They've got some really good financial aid. There's some state grants in Georgia that make it very advantageous for them. And there's only 2 Division III schools. They put a player in the NFL who no one else talked to out of high school. Other than Barry. And so there's a lot of access to players there because there's only 2 small college football teams. So they've got a really good setup. As one of their coaches put it, it's kind of like shooting fish in the barrel.
Yeah.
I don't think their coach is going to leave anytime soon. They've got a really good setup. They've got it made in a lot of respects. And so good for them. They've built a really good football team. They went on a streak where they won 5 straight conference championships, and Trinity's has taken it away from them the last couple of years, but they're both battling it. And they're if they win out, they most definitely should be one of the at-large teams in the national playoffs. They are a very good team, and we got to compete against a very good team, which I enjoy.
Yeah, good for them, but you took words right out of my mouth. Good for you as well, because you see where the Pirates have to get to. So unless you've got anything else, we'll go ahead and take a break and bring in our first guest.
Absolutely, let's do it.
All right, we've reached the end of the first quarter. We'll take a break and be right back. You're watching SU Football Weekly here on the Vype Live Network. before we went to break. I'll do it here in just a second, right after I thank some more of our sponsors here at Jack's Lounge. John F. Lewis CPA, Mighty Fine Burgers, Fries, and Shakes, Minuteman Press, Primerica Financial Solutions, Rudy's Barbecue, and Schlotzsky's of Georgetown. And now I'll get to it. We're going to bring in the first of our 2 wide receiver guests tonight. That would be junior wide receiver Dugan Sexton. Dugan, welcome to the show. Say hello and introduce yourself to the folks out there.
Thank you for having me. My name's Dugan Sexton. I'm number 3. I play wide receiver, and I'm a junior currently.
And you do pronounce it Dugan, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, I only say that because I'm a huge Supertramp fan.
Yeah.
And their bass player was named Doogie Thompson.
Hey.
So why Dugan? Why not Duggan? Where did the name come from?
You might have to ask my parents about that one, but I think they just our whole family were pretty Irish, so everyone in our family has Irish names. Dugan, Rory, Grady, Garrett, Mary Kate, Ali Shay. So keeping the Irish
there you go.
Vibes.
Yeah, I noticed a very big family. Was your family all athletic, or are you the standout in the athletic department?
I would say it depends. No, I'm just kidding. They're all pretty athletic. Everyone's been playing sports whole lives. My mom and dad both played in college as well. My dad played baseball. My mom was a basketball player.
Oh, very cool. So there are some genetics there at work, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, I noticed you played high school at Wakeland, which is a Frisco school up in the Dallas area. What's your take? We've been kind of asking some of the guys coming in here. You're going to get first stab at it. Mitchell's going to get a chance to rebut here probably. But we've been asking the guys in the season about that sort of regional rivalry, Houston, Dallas, Austin, all that kind of stuff. What's your take on it being a partisan from Dallas?
Dallas is definitely the best region out of all the other ones. I think Mitchell might argue that one, but definitely Dallas. I mean, they just produce a lot of great athletes over there and good coaches, and it's just a great place where a lot of players thrive and grow.
I think it's just kind of awesome in general. With all the football talent here in the great state of Texas, you can see why football is so huge here, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, I also noticed you were a 4-year letterman in basketball and a 3-year letterman in football in high school. Which was your favorite sport to play and why? Forget that Coach Austin's here. you can be honest if it's basketball, but what's your favorite sport to play?
That's a tough one. I mean, it's kind of like 50-50. It was nice play football in the fall and then moved to basketball for the spring and summer, playing like AAU and all that stuff. It was a good balance. Now after football season, I play intramural basketball.
I was just going to ask that.
Getting in there, and so it's kind of a little similar. Not as the time commitment's definitely not the exact same, but yeah, I would have to say it's about 50-50.
Those old habits die hard, right? You
Right.
got to keep that rhythm.
Yes, sir.
Well, what was it that attracted you to Southwestern? How did you hear about the school and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I know Coach Bishop reached out to me, Twitter DMs. So he was in my DMs, and then
thank you for still calling it Twitter, by the way.
Oh yeah. It's X now, but and then I came on a visit. Really loved Georgetown, the whole area. Me and my mom actually came when there was that freeze that happened.
Oh wow!
A few years ago. So our stay got a little prolonged, so we stayed in the hotel a couple more nights, and that kind of grew to love this place, so that was awesome.
Yeah, good news, bad news, you got to stay here longer. The bad news was it was too cold and frozen to do anything, right?
Exactly, yeah. You got to hang out with my mom, so shout out Mom right there.
There you go. We'll talk about your experience here. You're now in your 3rd year. What's it been like? Has it met your expectations, exceeded expectations? Talk about that a little bit.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely exceeded my expectations. I mean, I've been to, like, big schools my whole life, even high school. I mean, we had more people than we do at Southwestern, but it's been really nice to meet a lot of great people here, a lot of great guys. I'm in a fraternity, Phi Del, as well, so it's a good brotherhood, good group to have. And then you also get to play football and get a great education, all while in Georgetown, Texas. So it's the best of both worlds for sure.
Not a bad deal. Talk about that. We've talked to some of the other guys about this as well, that balancing of academics, coming from high school. That's such a different animal, being on your own for the first time and that kind of thing. Talk about that experience.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Pretty much just coming here as a freshman, you got to really learn, like, time management, and football really helped with that a lot. Coach Austin likes to live by his 8-8-8 rule, and if you kind of buy into that, I mean, you got time for pretty much everything you want to do. And then sometimes, you won't get 8 hours of sleep, but you maybe get 6 or 7, but you just got to roll with it right there.
Gotten easier with the time, with the experience a little bit?
Yeah, I would say junior year is pretty tough with in academics.
Right.
All those classes are getting more and more tough. So just really actually using that 8-8-8 rule and studying when I'm not practicing or watching film. Yeah.
Well, I know you're in your third year here, so you've had the opportunity to work with a variety of quarterbacks: Landry Gilpin, Damian Gomez, now Jalen Springs. Talk about that a little bit. What it's like trying to get used to a new quarterback and trying to develop that rhythm to get it's so important between a quarterback and a wide receiver. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, during practice, we get reps as receivers from all the quarterbacks as well, from JV all the way to starting varsity. So just kind of like seeing the different tendencies that each quarterback kind of has, you pick up on that pretty easily. We're a lot of timing routes, so we get our timing down, and it really doesn't matter sometimes with the quarterback. They're going to put it in the right place, the right spot, and they have been this season. So it's been a good experience to have for sure, working with all those guys.
Well, we were able to show it. I'm glad we finally got the highlights to start up again. Took the sledgehammer to the laptop and got it fired up again. The great over-the-shoulder catch you made for the touchdown. That has got to be one of the hardest catches to make in football. What's going through your mind when you're running underneath the football trying to catch up to it like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Damian had a great ball. I got the pickle call, which is the name of the play, post corner. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And then so line up, push kind of inside, see the safeties looking at me, think I'm running the post, and then snap off, look around. The sun is right
there.
Right in my eyes. All I could see was just a giant ball of light and then little black dot in there. And I'm like, all right, I got to catch that thing flying in the sky. So, really blessed to have the opportunity to score that touchdown in the game. I wish we could have got a few more on the board, but we're working to get better this week as a whole team.
Yeah, piece of cake, right? Anybody can make that catch, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, what do you consider to be your primary role? Do you consider yourself more of a possession type receiver or the deep threat, like on a play like that?
Yeah, I would say, it's really whichever coach puts me at.
Right.
I'm good with whichever one. Possession or deep ball. I mean, I love getting the deep balls because usually we score a touchdown, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, being able to also run like crossing routes, catching across the middle, not being afraid to maybe take a few hits. It's pretty balanced, I would say. I like the deep ball, but I'll settle for some short catches every once in a while.
There you go. Well, you mentioned you wish you could have gotten, the Pirates as a whole could have gotten a few more. You're on track to have your best season yet. You got one more year of eligibility left. So are you going to be coming back next year to try to, keep those numbers and keep the offense fired up?
Oh yeah, for sure. I know we're growing a lot as a team and as a unit, especially as an offense. When I came, we didn't even pass the ball really. My freshman year was the first time they really started incorporating more passing. So it's been cool to see the offense really grow. I mean, as you said earlier, with 3 different quarterbacks through that time, everyone's left their mark a little bit, changed the offense up based off of what works, what doesn't. And I'm really looking forward to next year. Got a lot of great young guys as well.
Good. Yeah, I got a lot of young guys around you, so they'll be looking to you for some of that senior leadership. What are some of the things that you like to do away from football, away from the classroom?
Yeah, I mean, besides that, that's a short amount of time right there outside of the classroom and football. But I like to work out and go to the gym. I usually see Coach Austin there mostly every morning, which is a great face to see in the morning for sure. Besides that, like I said, I like to play basketball. I get some shots up outside sometimes.
Right.
Really like to just hang out with my brothers in the fraternity house as well. And I'm a binge watcher for movies as well.
What's your favorite one?
Ooh.
Or maybe your favorite recent watch. How about that?
Yeah. I rewatched Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So that's really leaving a mark on me right now. Yeah.
What favorite memories so far, on or off the field, or both? What stands out to you?
That's a tough one. Man. I would probably say one time that I vividly remember is when my freshman year when we played Texas Lutheran. It was a close game the whole time, going neck and neck, and then we come down, we score a touchdown. We're back in on defense is back in, and we get a fumble, and Bernard, who was a linebacker for us, he grabs the fumble and runs back, and everyone just dogpiles him in the end zone at TLU. So that was a great feeling for sure.
It's always special against TLU or Trinity, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I haven't had Trinity played them yet, but I'm looking forward to it for sure.
That's coming up.
Yeah.
Business major with a minor in kinesiology, unless that's changed. So.
Oh, yeah. I'm doing a business and economics double major right now, and then minoring in Spanish.
Oh, very good. I have to talk to those web people because it's information's a little off there. But
right, yeah.
So I mean, good to hear that you're coming back next year. What are your plans after graduation? Are you still just trying to focus on school right now?
Yeah, I would say taking it day by day, getting my homework in.
Right. Making sure you do graduate.
Exactly. Yeah. I got to graduate first. But besides that, just something along the lines business economics. I went to Spain recently this past summer, and international business seems pretty interesting to me. So
very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your time to sign off here and give any shout outs to anybody that you haven't given a shout out to.
Shout out my family right there. I think they're watching, hopefully. Shout out Southwestern football. Looking forward to playing this week at center. And then, shout out my boy Mitchell, who's about to get on here right now.
Do you guys kind of compete against each other? That sort of informal rivalry, not just you two, but all the receivers. Anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah, I think we all make each other better every day. We really try to stress no drop catches, and if you drop a catch, you got to do 3 push-ups. So see who can do the most push-ups is really who's losing. But
well. It's been fun watching you. Good luck to the rest of the season, and we'll look forward to seeing you next year as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hang tight. We'll be right back. Dugan Sexton, junior wide receiver. We've reached halftime here of SU Football Weekly. When we come back, Chuck Cracy will be here with the Cracy's Corner, and we're going to get the reps from Houston, I'm sure, with Mitchell Garrett coming in, kind of rebutting what Dugan said here about Houston versus Dallas. So we'll take a break and be right back. Halftime SU Football Weekly on the Vype Live Network.
Football Weekly here at the Sheraton Georgetown Austin Hotel and Conference Center. We're here for the third quarter. I'll get into some of the research I did into you here in a second, but let's go on ahead and address this regional issue that was brought up by Dugan and Merle during the last segment.
Yeah.
You're from Magnolia, which is technically not in Houston, but it is certainly part of the greater Houston area. And there's a whole lot of quality football teams, including Magnolia, in that area. What do you have to say about their thinking the Metroplex is better than Houston?
Well, I would say, I mean, Houston's better, but Dallas has their schools too, so I can't really knock them for it. But
yeah, but we're talking Katy, Galena Park, North Shore, Magnolia.
I think they're kind of outnumbered.
Manville. Yeah, I mean just the number of teams.
Yeah,
and that's not to even mention probably the biggest district in the state, and that's that Cypress district.
Yes,
that has teams galore. So. Talk a little bit about your experience at Magnolia. Like I said, it's a little bit outside of the Houston metro area. It's close enough to be part of Houston, but it's got a little bit of a small town feel to it, right?
Yes, sir. Growing up there, I've been living there my whole life, so it's been actually like a great time, just living there, and like the whole thing. It's outside of Houston, so you're not gonna catch a whole bunch of traffic. You're not gonna catch all that type of stuff, but it's a really fun experience though. It's been I wouldn't say like it's like very like busy, but I like it a lot.
Well, and you get that metropolitan feel.
Yeah.
You're real close to Houston, so I mean, if there's a concert you want to go to, or some event, you have people that come in and visit you. You can take them and entertain them very easily.
Yeah.
It's similar to Georgetown to Austin, kind of a little bit further out from Houston.
Yeah, it's like the perfect balance. Honestly, it's coming from Magnolia to Georgetown. You get the same. You're outside, but you're not too far outside where you can't do all the stuff that you can do if you're in the Austin area. So,
is that what drew you to Georgetown? Is
kinda,
it very similar?
Yeah, kind of. When I first came here, it was actually the same time that Dugan came here during the freeze, and didn't really get to go out a bunch because everything was closed. But I mean, I saw that and I saw the potential that this place had, so I made the decision to come.
Well, now, in your high school career as a football player, you were two-time by-district champ, and you had a season where you went undefeated. What memories do you really draw from your experience there at Magnolia High School in that football program?
Just everything about the team. Our teams were really talented, but at the same time, we had a good group of guys that were focused in playing football. They always wanted to win. Our coaches were tough on us, discipline, so much running, conditioning, stuff like that. So it really got like best of both worlds in that sense, and from the talent and then the coaching. So I really enjoyed my whole year there, well, my whole high school career there.
Did you play any other sports besides football there?
No, sir.
So it was just strictly
Just straight
football. So do you have any other athletic activities that you like to partake in? I mean, you're real good at cornhole or anything like that?
I like to play intramural basketball with Dugan, and just a little bit of golfing as well.
So you're kind of a tall guy.
Yeah.
So you play down in the post when you're playing intramurals with
sir.
him? Are you on the
Yes, sir.
same team with Dugan?
Yes, sir, I am.
So is he handling the point and feeding you down low?
He's getting me down low. I'm getting the rebounds for him, doing all the dirty work, making him all special.
Make him look good,
Yeah,
right?
sir.
Give him that assist. The pass is only so much. Well, let's talk a little bit about the research that I did into you. There's a famous individual, well, somewhat famous. He's in the major leagues baseball with your name reversed. This is Garrett Mitchell, right? It's not Mitchell Garrett. One of the jobs that I've had in my past is a fraud investigator, and so I've had access to some databases that I could not use. It would be corrupt for me to use to look up SU football players. But the good thing is you're not really anywhere, and so that means you haven't really had any negative news about you either. So that's always a good thing. You're a business major.
Yes,
Do you
sir.
have a minor?
No, I do not have a minor right now.
What is your goal beyond Southwestern?
My goal beyond Southwestern, obviously, is to graduate from the school
Sure.
here, finish
Step
up my
one.
classes. Yeah, step one. And then, obviously, go get a job, try to find a place in the Austin area, and start working.
So you like the Austin area that much that you
Yes.
want to stay
Yes,
here
sir.
local?
I love this
Okay.
place.
Well, there are a few alum that have stayed around, and I'll shout out T.J. Vela. He comes back and does color commentary
Yeah.
for the games, and he's stayed here locally. He's not from the area
Mm-hmm.
directly, so it is a very nice area. Other than the 9.5, 10 months of 100-degree weather,
Yeah.
Beyond that, but you get that in Houston too,
Yeah,
right?
I
And
get-
it's
I
more
get everything.
humid there.
Yeah.
So, okay, so are you considering staying close to the sport of football?
I'm not 100% sure.
You're not 100%
Yeah.
sure, because there's a lot of business opportunities that surround the sport itself. But I always recommend that if you can stay involved in one way or another, that you do so. I mean, even if it's as an official, the guys that you don't like while you're a player, those guys are very important to the game actually occurring, right? So, consider staying in the sport at some level, even if you change your mind about business, you can always go into coaching. That's the great thing about a business degree. You have a wide range of opportunities that you can pursue. It's always good to have a plan, though. So think about that. So what is your favorite experience off the football field here at Southwestern University?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I have to think about it. Favorite
Are there some
experience?
tests you aced that you didn't expect to, or
No, maybe. I'm trying to think. Maybe just, I guess, just going out with Dugan just to go. We went to go see like a concert, I believe, in like the Austin area. So that was, I guess, the funnest thing I've done.
so? Who was the band?
I'm not
Was it
sure. If I remember.
local music?
Yeah,
that
I'm
you
pretty
might
sure
not
it was
know?
local music.
Okay, so was it like somebody famous like Taylor Swift
No.
coming through or something like
No.
that you went and saw? That's a lot of money to go to those kinds
Yeah.
of shows anyway. So what's your favorite football experience here at SU?
Favorite football experience has probably been probably last year. I think it was versus Austin College when we played them. It was just one of our best games offensively and defensively, and I just really enjoyed it. Like just being around the whole team on an away game, especially how excited everyone was. How excited everyone was to get that win. I mean, no one really wanted to go on a bus ride all the way up to Sherman, but we did, and we had like a fun time doing it. So
Yeah, you don't want to lose to the Kangaroos. Right? So what would you tell a recruit, or do they allow y'all to talk to the recruits when
Yes,
they're
sir.
here? Okay, so what would you tell a recruit to encourage them to come to SU? I mean, when one of the things in business you may consider is sales, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have to be able to promote, the product, whatever that is. And if the product's SU football, what would you tell them?
I'd probably tell them that this place is in a great location. It's in a like pristine place where you want to go to be a athlete and for school. You get looked at by only like a handful of teachers, and you're gonna have small classes. You're gonna have loads of fun, whether you just do football here, whether you just are just a student here. There's always activities going on around this campus, so that's what really keeps everything fresh and new, keeps everyone happy.
Well, and when your experience at Magnolia, that's a fairly big high school, right? And you
Yes,
come
sir.
to a college that's probably a little smaller in the number of students. Talk about you mentioned it briefly, but talk about how important it is to have a low teacher to student ratio. If you go to the University of Texas, a lot of their freshman classes have in excess of 400 students in one class. So, what are you looking at, somewhere around 19 students a
Yes,
class
sir.
or something
Yes,
like
sir.
that?
Around like 20.
Yeah, so
at the-
talk about how that benefits you. Not only is the academic programs, they're tough and rigorous, but you have a benefit of those professors that are easier to talk to.
Yes, sir. I was just thinking about how, like, from Magnolia to Southwestern, it's always been kind of consistent with the teachers. Like, we were a big school, but we had 30-something kids, And here you're going to have about like the same 30 or less kids in each class. And it really benefits you when you know the teacher. You can email them, hey, what's up? Can I come to office hours and talk to you about stuff? And they're open to do it. They're open to do anything for you. And I really appreciate that. And it just makes the whole college experience even a little bit easier when you know it gets rough.
Well, I was going to say it under any circumstance, the academic programs here are never easy, but it is helpful to have some support system in place,
Yes,
right? So I always ask this question. I've been started it this season, a couple of episodes in. What famous person, recent or in history, if you had the opportunity to spend a lunch hour with and ask questions, who would that be?
Oh, famous person would probably be Michael Jordan. Just because, I mean, look at him. He's the best player of all time in his sport, and he's a good businessman. So kind of getting best of both worlds with that again. And that's what I want to do too.
Well, that would be my problem with Michael Jordan. I'd want to talk about the 80s Bulls more than I would want to talk about business. But you might want to talk to him about business, right?
Pick his brain a little bit on either thing, about his work ethic in the basketball career and his off the field career when he retired. So that's what I would really like to do.
Well, obviously you weren't around when he was a player. Have you watched any of his video? Have you watched any documentaries on those Bulls teams during that era?
I watched the one on Netflix. I think it was The Last Dance, and it was a really good documentary. Talked about how just the whole team thing, just building up a good culture around the team, having good work ethic, going to like meetings and stuff with a good mindset, all that type of stuff. So,
well, I'm a Mavericks fan, but during that era, I as much as I hate to admit it to Merle, I really did root for the Bulls during that era.
I mean, everyone had to.
It was hard not to.
It was hard not to, yeah.
Now, go on ahead and shout out some of your teammates and some of your non-football friends, and we'll wrap up this conversation.
Okay. Shout out Dugan Sexton. Shout out Ethan Powell. He's been a real big mentor for me around this Southwestern journey. Shout out my mom, my dad. Shout out Michael. Shout out Phi Delta Theta too, my fraternity. Thank you.
And maybe this video will get out and you'll get to have that lunch with Michael Jordan. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah,
so we'll be right back for quarter number 4 of SU Football Weekly on the Vype Live Network. Stay with us.
Of SU Football Weekly here. Of our sponsors tonight, Bricks and Ale at the Sheraton, Stephanie Featherstone with State Farm, Georgetown Shirt Company, HEB, House of Gains, Ross and Champion CPA, GTX Wealth, Jersey Mike Subs, and The League Kitchen and Tavern. Before we talk about Center College, I just wanted to point out a couple of things, Coach. You and I were both standing back there. I like to go back there when Chuck is doing his thing on Tracy's Corner. It smells so good out there. everybody's eating all this food. So if you're watching at home, there's 4 shows left, I believe. So get out here and have dinner. I mean, it's great food. I'm like drooling just trying to talk to you right now.
It's a good menu. They've got a good amount of stuff that they bring up from Bricks and Ale, which is the official sponsor.
Right.
We're at Jack's Lounge, but Bricks and Ale, the restaurant here at the Sheraton, is a sponsor, and they feed us, so it's good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. And speaking of good menus, talk about the good menu that your quarterbacks have with those 2 guys and some of the other guys. It's good that they're going to be back next year because, as I mentioned, it's so young on offense. They're going to be looking up to those guys.
Good people. They do things the right way. Their approach is great. Their attitude is awesome. Our wide receivers, for folks that have followed our team, have seen that our wide receivers have not been necessarily consistent this year. They've had their ups and downs, each one of them, and their issues. But they really just keep working and they get at it. And they made some improvements last week. We did have the 1 fumble from the wide receiver position, but Mitchell had a solid game and Dugan had another solid game. So we're continuing to grow that position. We've got some good young players, got some older players that are contributing as well. And they just work great as a unit. And
right.
John Bishop, their coach, does a great job with that little brotherhood within the team brotherhood. It's just a really strong group, our wide receiver group.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun to watch them the rest of the way. Speaking of the rest of the way, the Pirates will travel to Danville, Kentucky this Saturday to take on Center College. The Colonels will come in at 1-4 and 1-2 in conference play, having defeated Rhodes College 28-26 in 3 overtimes before falling 49-16 to Berry and 31-3 at Trinity this past Saturday. So what can you tell us about the Colonels?
A lot. I've been playing them for a long time. We played them every year when I was a head coach at Hanover.
And they played them this year, didn't they?
Yeah, and so I guess I played them every year from 2008 to 2011, and then we've seen a lot of film of them over the years from trading games. They're a very established program. Their head coach Andy Fry has been there about 30 years probably. In fact, they're naming the field after him this week.
Oh, wow.
So you've been around for a long time and done some good things.
As long as it's not Memorial.
Yeah,
you
no,
name
it's not
the field
Memorial.
after you, that's
no,
fine.
I would say I don't want anything named after me. It means I'm probably not around to see it. But in this case, it's not Memorial. He's our active head coach, been there for a long time. They won a lot of championships when they were in the SCAC. They won a lot of championships now that they've been in the SAA for the last dozen years or so. Good football team. This year, their record's not what they want to be, but I think it's misleading because the records that teams they play are 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, and 5-1.
Right.
And 2 of those losses are to Berry and Trinity, who are elite football teams. And so they played a tough schedule. And Rhodes, who they did beat in overtime, is 4-2 themselves. They played great against us. Like I said, I think maybe we underestimated Rhodes just a touch. At least the way they played in the game we played against them, they did a fantastic job. So they played a tough schedule. It's not their best season, but they're still a talented football team, and they're gonna play hard because it's an important day for them. They're dedicating their stadium reservation and their new turf field to their coach.
Yeah, and I noticed you kind of took the words right out of my mouth. They're only scoring 15 points per game, according to my notes. But I was going to ask you, how much is that about them, and how much is it about the fact that they played at Trinity and Berry already?
Yeah, they played some good defenses.
Yeah.
Every defense they played is pretty strong. Hanover's competing for their conference championship. They lost to Maryville, who's always competing for their conference championship. Berry and Trinity are probably going to be playoff teams if they went out. So they've played some good teams. They're not without talent. They're a pretty good football team, and we're going to have to take them seriously and understand that their record, and when you put it in context, has really prepared them. I think they've played some good football teams.
I know it doesn't really work this way, but 28-26 against Rhodes College. I think you felt, and the guys probably felt that the Pirates could have played Rhodes College a little bit better. Is this in some ways kind of a chance to redeem themselves from that game in particular, or do you not make those kind of comparisons?
I think you can learn from how they played each other because you have a common opponent now. You can look at the film and compare a little bit that way. But it's an independent deal. It's an independent
Right.
trial. It's almost like rolling the dice where, the last roll doesn't necessarily dictate what this roll is. It's going to be the team that's going to execute better this Saturday.
One thing on Saturday that I noticed, Blaine Corkin out of the lineup. I think that probably really hurt the defense, not having him and his leadership out there. Will he be back? Any other guys coming back that you've been kind of missing throughout the season?
It's early in the week to know about Blaine. We're hopeful that he'll be back. Jake Sefcik, a freshman who stepped in for him, actually was elected the defensive player of the game by his teammates. So Jake stepped in, did a nice job, but it doesn't mean we wouldn't love to have Blaine in there, and we're really hoping to have Blaine. Blaine is our leading tackler coming into the game. really accurate player, does things very well, knows his role and how to execute it. So it will definitely be a boost for us if we can get Blaine back in the lineup. We've been without running back Sam LeBleu for several weeks.
Right.
Early to know about him, but we're hopeful that maybe Sam can come back. He leads our team in yards per carry, has done some nice things for us. And we got Graydon Thompson back last week at receiver. He's our leading receiver. Maybe a little bit of rust, especially early in the game. He had that fumble, had been out for several weeks. I think he is just going to be even more healthy than he was last week, and we're hoping to have him come back and get into his true form as well.
Well, one of the things that I noticed, and we've kind of talked about it a little bit on the shows in the past about how Southwestern doesn't quit regardless of the scoreboard. But, I look up the scoreboard at one time, and it's like 52-3 or something like that. And you've got not just the young guys hustling that are trying to make an impression. You've got all the seniors out there in defense just flying around the field, Alec Gomez and guys like that. Talk about that effort a little bit when really, their seasons are winding down. They could be phoning it in. They're not doing that.
No, we value effort. We value competition. And our seniors who went through kind of this COVID phase, it was hard for us. They've learned grit and diligence. In fact, I talked to him about that. One of the things I admire about this group of seniors is their grit and diligence. And I asked them to make sure they're passing that on to the younger players in their position groups. It's one of the things in their legacy that they can do is to pass on that grit and diligence as they lead us into this new phase, this third phase of football with us as we enter the SAA conference. So, yeah, we don't phone in anything. We just show up and we play and we get after it and we just go. And we're going to do that again this week.
Well, on paper, at least this game looks like a very winnable game for the Pirates. What's it going to take for you guys to get over the hump and get that second win of the season?
It's a lot about preparation. It's about showing up on the road. We haven't shown up on the road. We haven't played a good first half yet. We've played some good second halves on the road. We played well at Kalamazoo. We played well at Hendricks. Against Rhodes, we didn't play particularly well in either half. It's about showing up. It's about preparing to play on the road. We're flying. There's difficulties with, food and hydration and just rest. And there's challenges with flying on Friday. We got to overcome that. I think that's a big thing. We'll have to overcome a little bit of the matchups because they're a pass-first offense, and that hasn't necessarily been our strength is pass defense. They do run the ball, but I think that they're pass first. There's some formations where they're really big tendencies where you almost know this is a pass look for them, and we're going to have to be strong in that regard. And they're pretty experienced on defense. They've got a lot of graduates. They're using their COVID year. They've got a lot of seniors and juniors. So they're a good football team. And I think you got to look at their record in context. If you kind of flip their schedule and they played some other teams before they played, 4 teams that are vying for their conference championship, maybe their record might be different. Right? So we definitely don't want to overlook this football team. We need to prepare well. And to me, it's about how we can get our team ready to go and play a road game.
Well, that sounds good. Looking forward to it. Any final thoughts, or you got it all covered?
Well, we're playing in an eclipse.
That's right.
I don't remember ever doing that before.
Yeah.
So we'll see
how. You played 11 o'clock, and now you're playing in an eclipse? You guys are getting a little crazy.
So we'll see how that goes. It's going to be like we're in the heart of it here.
I forgot about that.
But it's going to be about a 60% eclipse. I think it's going to be a little bit cloudy and rainy, so we might not even notice it a whole lot. They'll probably flip the lights on, and we won't notice anything. But I don't remember in 25 years playing during an eclipse before. So that'll be interesting.
Just when you think you've seen it all, right?
Yep.
Well, good luck, and get yourself one of those little things with the little light in your seat because you can see your play calls and that kind of thing if you need it.
Yeah. Well, they got stadium lights. It's not like it's going to be even if it were to be like pitch dark, they turn the lights on and we're good to go.
Well, that should be interesting. You got to tune in for that alone just to see how it all works out in the eclipse. So Pirates versus Center College Saturday at noon from Andy Fry Stadium in Danville, Kentucky. And if you're not making the trip, you can find the link to watch Center's broadcast on the football schedule at southwesternpirates.com. We'll be back with you from Jack's Lounge right here at the Georgetown Sheraton next Monday night at 6 o'clock for another edition of SU Football Weekly. I want to thank our guests tonight, Dugan Sexton and Mitchell Garrett, our producer, Trey Grubb, doing a great job filling in for Jack Farrell, our technical director, Cinna Vencott, our QA tonight, my better half, Christina Weber-Bertrand, Chuck Tracy. Good to have him back for Tracy's Corner. Made my job a lot easier. And everybody out there for tuning in, thank you for coming out. And seriously, come out here next week and enjoy the show. My name is Merle Bertrand signing out. We will see you next week for more SU Football Weekly right here on the Vype Live Network. Good night, everybody.
Hi, Mom.